Speaking of people who said things, Ylan?
Well, certainly Dr. Fauci had a lot to say. That hearing is still going on, about half an hour left to go or so in it. And Fauci did mention that the curve appears to be moving in the right direction, but he said that is not the same thing as having this virus totally under control. And he warned that if there is a resurgence in the fall without an adequate public health response, there will be more infections and more deaths. And he also warned states against jumping the gun as they try to reopen the economy.
If that occurs, there is a real risk that you will trigger an outbreak that you may not be able to control, which in fact, paradoxically, will set you back, not only leading to some suffering and death that could be avoided, but could even set you back on the road to trying to get economic recovery, because it would almost turn the clock back.
Fauci did say that he believes the number of coronavirus deaths has been underestimated, though he did not say by what amount. He also believed that it was, quote, a bridge too far to expect a vaccine to be in place by the fall once schools resume. Scott, there was a lot of discussion about the impact that the virus could have on children. Fauci said that he remains humble in trying to understand how this manifests in kids. He said that he's a scientist offering public health advice, not economic advice. Back over to you.
Yeah, Ylan, it's these recent stories about children being impacted and this sort of post-virus conditions that kids are facing. A lot in the New York area that has sort of change the calculus maybe in how some are thinking about the reopening process. And the other part of it, and maybe Fauci is speaking somewhat to this too, and everybody's going to have to face this, is that every reopen is not created equal. There are some areas of the country that maybe are in a better place to reopen. It's really hard to have blanket policies when you're talking about these tough decisions of where to reopen and when. And the children thing on the end of your report there, it's scary.
Well, that's right. I mean, Fauci's answer to that is that America is a very big country. There are places where you can see the curve starting to bend. There are places where you're starting to see spikes. So certainly the dynamics are not the same everywhere. The other thing that he cautioned was that, there are multiple sort of layers and criteria that need to be met before any place is recommended to reopen. And one of them is contact tracing. You heard from a Republican Senator, Lisa Murkowski, who said that her state only has 100 contact tracers. You heard the head of the CDC respond to that and say she likely needs to increase that by 5 or 6-fold before she can feel truly confident in having things go back to normal. So there are a lot of pieces of this that still need to be put into place. The frustration among some states is that the White House is potentially recommending these guidelines here, but not necessarily giving states the resources in order to meet them. Yeah,
well, we'll see how some of these comments from Dr. Fauci today go over in the White House as well. Have to put that into consideration, too. Ylan, thanks so much. That's Ylan Moy reporting.